Wow, hope you're well. And also, we are well on this end. And there's something we wanted just to discuss briefly today. And we are hopeful that it will be of help to you. So, to my co panelists, there's something that I've been reading or studying, very interesting, that I've come across. That actually, when it comes to families that we have in the society, only 40% gets the opportunity to be raised by both their biological parents. And it got me thinking, the picture that we have with the 60%, and what does that pose to the society that we find ourselves in these times?
Wow. Yeah, I also read that. I came across that, and I like the way you have been able to highlight, because that made me wonder, where is the 60%? So the 60% of these children who are not raised by both biological parents are either in blended families, or they are raised by single parents who found themselves in these circumstances after the loss of a parent, or after divorce of their parents, or some were just raised as single and they have never experienced any family, or both parents. So it means this is the society that we have. It made me also thinking the reality of how we are living, the reality of our society. For the longest time, even when we were studying, we learned that there is nuclear family, and growing up, we didn't experience what we're experiencing now. But then the statistic is drastically changing. So we have to accept as a society that there are children who are actually who are raised in their families that are not in their biological state. That is, not the the parents bringing them up.
So I'd want to take you back. There is a word that you have mentioned there, and you mentioned something to do with blended families. Would you want to just delve deeper? Exactly what is this, and how actually do people get to this sphere of being blended?
Wow. Yeah, blending, I want to simplify it, that blending is basically raising children in a place where there are no two biological parents. It could be one biological parent. Some of them are raised by two parents who are not their biological parents. But anyway, you are raised in a place where the two parents or guardians who are raising you are not your biological parents. So they find a home. They find a home they can call a home. They find someone who they can call a father, they can call a mother, not biologically, but they call a home. Some people in this farm nest, as we always say, we call it a nest. It is a nest constructed by other people who provide the warmth to these children.
Okay.
Yes.
And maybe now, since you have mentioned the aspect of a nest, and we've talked about blending, because from where I see it, or I think this blending is driven by grown-ups or by parents or by adults. And you've mentioned about a nest. Then where does it leave the children when we talk about a nest or when we talk about blending? Because I believe when you talk about family, it is a full ecosystem. But you'll find this is being driven by parents. Where do we leave the children? And do they have their own contribution? Do they pose a risk to the blending? And how would we incorporate maybe all these things together?
Wow, good question. This is the heartbeat of the farm nest hub, because we talk about a nest. And this nest is constructed by adults. And in the blending, it's a man and a woman who meet and they love each other. And this blending can be beautiful, because by the time people are getting in this blended, they are mature. So most of the people who are in the blended marriages, they know what they want. But then we cannot ignore the 60% of the children, because we say they are either in blended, or they are being raised in the single parents, or the widowed, or the divorced parents.
So are you saying they are candidates?
They are candidate of the blending. That is why this blended could be that 60% or even 50%, because if you are widowed, if you are divorced, you are a candidate of the blended family. So the two people meet, they have children, these children have a history, and so they meet, they love each other, and they get married. So the ideal way of doing it is there is a need for the children to be tagged along. But most of the time, because I also read another article where most of the blended families are so shaky and conflicted, not because they don't love each other. We say love is not enough in a blended family.
Wow.
Love is not enough. Children needs to be part of it. But one mistake people do is that they assume the children will tag along. They'll catch up with our love. In this marriage, these kids will catch up with our love. And so they just move in. Now, remember something interesting. We said these children, they have a history. And then you grown-ups, you have just tagged along, or rather you have loved each other and went ahead. And so one day a child wakes up, and I want to give an example. Have you ever shifted?
Yes, I have severally.
You know, there is something that called shifting from where you are. Could it be a workplace, the resident where you live, anything to do with shifting? There is an anxiety that comes out of shifting as a grown-up. And you see, as a grown-up, by the time you're shifting to a better place. Could be a better house, could be a better job, but then there is a lot of uncertainty that happens. How about a child?
Wow.
They are used in this environment. Yes, I only have a father. Yes, I only have a mother. But then all of a sudden, without consenting them, they wake up in a space and they find another man, another woman, other children. And one day someone says, these are your children. These are your sisters. This is your father. This is your mother, without explanation. Now, remember, all the children, they don't come in a blended family without a history. So they carry a baggage of loss for the parents for the children who lost their parents. They carry a baggage of divorce that happens. Some of the divorces happens in a very messy way. They carry a history of a life they lived in their aunties, in their uncle's place. And so all of a sudden, they are told, this is your new nest, this is your father, these are your brothers and sisters, without question.
I'd want just to give it a pause there.
Yeah.
You're saying that children come with baggage.
Yes.
So do we find ourselves in scenarios where parents have dealt, but children have not dealt? Do we find ourselves in those scenarios?
Yeah.
And if that is the case, is there hope for ensuring that also children get to the same space where the parents are?
Wow, good. And that is why we have a conversation on 21st. We have a webinar on 21st of April. Dubbed Every Child Has a History. Love is not enough. Are you in a blended marriage or a family? Do you keep wondering why some children have a lot of resentment on you? You have done your best, you have loved them, but yet they don't really know whether to call you dad or mom. You tend to think that these children are abusive or they are disrespectful. Before you think they are disrespectful, pause and ask yourself, did I take them along, or they're just walking and they caught up with my marriage? And that's why we say every child has a history. In case you are already in a blended and you wonder, what did I blend for not involving this child? Just come on 21st. We see how do we again go back and pick them emotionally so that they are able to work with us. If you are not married and you're dating to get into a blended setup, please pause first. Come, let us tag along our children, because by the way, statistics also shows that the highest level of separation and divorce that happens during the blended family, it's because of children.
Wow.
Because they came, they got stuck, they don't know what to do. And then the other partner tends to think they don't love me, they don't respect me. It is nothing to do with that. Every child will be glad to have a father. Every child will be glad to have a mother, to have bonus. We call them bonus parents, bonus children. Imagine having just 2-3 children that they are calling you dad, they are calling you mom. But the process of blending is what people miss out. And that is why on 21st of April, from 8 p.m. virtually. We shall be addressing that. Every child has a history. What is the story in your child life, in your children?
Wow.
Yes.
That sounds very insightful. I can see we are in for a treat and some good time. And I think my key takeout for today is that love is not enough. I'll be your moderator and looking forward to seeing you even as we delve deeper, as we unpackage and get to be more enlightened, to be more informed, so that we are able to deal and be able to appreciate and to fit in better in the society that we find ourselves in. I hope you are ready also for the same
I'll
day.
be very, very ready. I'm already ready.
Awesome.
And I'll be your host, Rosby, the founder of Farmnest Hub, where we say we are rebuilding, repairing a nest one strand at a time. This round, we are talking about the blended families. It is a nest, it is a functional nest. And by the way, it is a functional family. However, let us repair this nest one strand at a time and bring a strong family. Looking forward to meeting you there.
Oh.
And together we say, see you there.
Even as we prepare for the same.
All right.
I'll be your moderator and we'll have a great time together. Thank you.